Barrister, last week we had several reports as it regards to or relates to the religious faiths. You know, it wasn't even the Catholic Church last week. We're talking about the Baptist and other, I think the Anglican as well. And today, it seems like it is the turn of the Catholic Church, or this week, beginning this week, it seems like the Catholic Church has joined in the cry for the release of their priests and other lay and clergymen who are already, you know, in detention and in captivity. Barrister, it's not like anyone is safe, like you tried to explain the other time. Everybody, both the common man out there, is facing the same issue. The religious faith is facing the same issue. The insecurity is still on the high side. But the threat of retrieving Catholic priest, do you think that at this point is the best thing for Reverend Kia to do?
I don't know what is the best thing for him to do, but I can analyze it from my own angle. The reverend priests, they are saving a community of people we call Christians. I've said here before that the church is not found in the cathedral. The church is not found in the four walls of a room called the church. It's a community of worshippers who are united in faith, in belief. And so I've said, there's nobody in DOP. That's happening in DOP. God continue. There's no other person in DOP other than a Christian, a civilian, a pagan, who can say that he had not tasted the problem that is going on now, the so-called Ambazonian problem. They have tested it directly or indirectly. They are one party. So everybody there, including all the Catholic Christians, including priests adopted, they have felt the consequence of this. What happens to the church? Analyze it very carefully. Now, the priest was adopted. Two of them, I'm told. That's the story. And then the bishop sent 4 others, plus a layman, to go plead for their release. They went, adopted. When adopted, they came right to them, they saw them, and they said, "You are no longer going back." It's not like they went and captured them in the road. No. They came right to where these guys live. They talked to them. And they said, "Okay, we're keeping you here." After that, they said, "All of you can go away, but we'll keep one man." One thing which is important there is they have not killed the priests, killed the people who wanted. The critical point given and saw the individuals and talked to them. And they gave what conditions they gave. That is a different story. And so the Archbishop issues an order, which ends up with, if this thing don't happen, the church will close. The deanery of Ndop will completely shut down. Well, what is the goal there? What is the goal? Why does the bishop aim to do that? The bishop believes, my thinking, that the community of Christians, they know these guys, they know where they are. They can mount pressure on them to release the priests. That's the bishop's goal. He said, by this day, if they're not released, we'll pray, we'll do if they're not released, we'll shut down the church. He wants the Christian community to mount pressure on the individuals keeping this guy. But strangely, these individuals are not hiding, because other priests have been there, as you are told, and tried to negotiate the release, and they were simply told to go away. They didn't beat them. They didn't take any money from them. They simply asked them to go back. And one of the conditions which I think we're missing is, they said, according to what I heard, let the Archbishop himself come. Want to see him. Want to see him. But rather than, even if they didn't say they wanted to see him, he knows the house where they are. The 4 priests and laymen who went there can take him to that spot to see those gentlemen, or whatever thing they call themselves. He can talk to them directly, not through the ordinary citizens. He can go and talk to them. What is difficult? If I were the Archbishop, I would simply say, you saw them. I would ask my priest, you saw them? They say, yeah, I saw them. We saw them. And they asked us to go away after releasing us. And they said they will continue to keep this gentleman, the other priest, or they want to see you. If I were the Archbishop, I would move there because they have not threatened to kill anybody. I will go and see them and ask them, what do you want? Their aim is not just 10 million ransom. They have something different, which I think if the Archbishop took the pains himself, he's a human being. The other priests are just ordinary priests. Any of those priests could have become a bishop. A bishop is first a priest, and they elevate you from that position of a priest and you become a bishop. So if the Archbishop cared much, I think it would be proper for him to take the 4 priests who went there and say, let us go and see them. You have been there, you saw the house where they were living, you saw them, you talked to them, you spoke with them. That's why they asked you to go back, and then they will keep this one. He should go there himself, rather than threatening the community. If you shut down the whole church over there, what is shutting down a church mean? You take away your Holy Communion, that's what it says. Take away the Holy Communion, let the tabernacle remain open. In other words, there's no communion for you to take. If there's no communion, the church is not in the communion. It's a faith which is in the communion. So I remember when we grew up, it could take 2 months, 3 months before you see where a priest will come around and give you communion. So daily taking of communion is not what makes the faith strong. Now, standing up in difficult times is what makes the church strong. The church is not in the communion. The church is in the people. The heaven is not in the cathedral. The heaven is somewhere in the belief of the people. And so what the bishop should have done, because that collective threat is a different dimension in this struggle. But as a note, let us be known, the Ambazonian federal government that we speak for, that we stand and speak for, is not responsible for those things. There's an official statement out there. This we don't represent us. We don't adopt. We don't ask for ransom. Above all, we don't threaten the church. But it has happened. Whoever has done it, the people are well known because, as I've just said, as the story unfolds, they are well known. Priests have been there. They've talked to them. They know where they are. So what is the fault of my old grandmother who sits in the, who only eats fufu corn and wants to go to church on Sunday and take communion? If you withdraw that communion from her, the old mother who is just going to die, how does the problem of adopted priest doesn't solve the problem? This is where faith is tested. This is where leadership is tested. The bishop, if I were him, I've said, should go confront those people, know exactly what they want. If their problem is solely money, if it is purely 10 million francs, you can as well tell them, well, brothers, I don't know the women there, brothers and sisters, we as a church, we don't pay ransom. You convince them, they will see a need to let those guys go. But to put a collective threat on the people by announcing a shutdown of the church is not a solution to the problem. Not a solution to the problem. The people have different problems. Again, if it is in the context of the Ambazonian war, there's nobody in DOP, priests and lay people alike, who have not tested the wrath of this war. Last week, we were analyzing other pastors, not Catholic pastors, who were adopted, Baptists, and so on and so forth. And so the pain is real, the truth is real. The Archbishop will do better by going to the people to find out the truth. What is it that, maybe, just maybe, if they could let others go and keep the particular priest, might be they have something against him as an individual, not the church. Because if they have something against the church as a block, they will not have released the other 4 priests and the lay guy. But they release this guy and say, we'll keep this one here. Might be, just might be. If the bishop himself went down to talk to the flock, to the people, and say, yeah, I've taken my priest, what is your problem? They will be able to dialogue with him. They will be able to tell him their concern, and she will be able to address it from that angle. The angle that is addressing it through is an angle of threat. Threat against violence is not a solution. Threats against threat, they threaten if you don't pay the money, we'll kill you, we'll kill your priest. You are threatening them if you don't release the guy who will shut down the church. So threat against threat is not a solution to such a problem. I would advise it might stay in detention. For the Archbishop himself, he's just a human being with two legs, two eyes, to move to that place and say, what's your problem, gentlemen or ladies, or whoever they are? And then from there, the problem will be better addressed. That's my take about it.
So, barrister, you realize how you're trying to convince them, threats over the church might not work. But even the people at this point, do you think that with all of this happening, the people will still have the faith to continue attending services, knowing that, I mean, the leaders in faith are the ones being taken away or kidnapped, as the case may be? Don't you think that the people might also be losing faith at this point? Also,
No, no, no,
not
no.
just the priests.
They are never going to lose faith on that. You see, the problem is that sometimes we underestimate the community of the faithful. A community of the faithful, be it the Muslims or be it the Christians, Catholics, Baptists, they are not idiots. They are very intelligent men and women. Let us just take it back. This is happening after the event of the pronuncio in Bamenda. When these people were gathered in the cathedral before the pronuncio, they were all worshippers. They were faithful Christians. But they were not stupid, faithful Christians. When the pronuncio pronounced something political that did not please them, they told him in open language, that is not what we want. So what you call the faithful, they are not idiots. That will not destroy their faith. The abductors didn't shut down the church. They took away a priest. The same abductors left the other priest to go free. So there's nothing, the faith will not waver. The faith is not found in the church cathedral. That's what I've said here. You can stay in your house and still be a very faithful Christian. Before Christianity came, our great-grandfathers who lived and died, they went to heaven as well if you did a good job. So faith is in yourself. Faith is not manifested by you going to the cathedral to pray or to the church to give alms or whatever thing. No, that's not faith. Faith is more than that. And so people will still have the faith. They will still go to church. But above all, different pastors will come and go. We are criticizing Archbishop Andrew. He's the third Archbishop of Bamenda. Vertigo was the first. Fontaine was next. Fontaine is still living there. They're just human beings. They make human errors. They don't appreciate all of them in the same way. The way they appreciate Fontaine, who is still sitting there, is still sitting there, is different. The way they appreciate Archbishop Andrew here in Bamenda is very different from the way they appreciate Archbishop Nko in Kumbo. Just this week, Bishop Nso issued a pastoral letter, still addressing the same issues that we have in Cameroon, called it Ambazonia. But his approach was very different. So faith is not found in the particular pastor. Faith is found in the people. People know who is a good pastor. People who know who is a bad priest, and often they are bad priests. That's a fact. Often they are bad pastors. And so the people's faith will not diminish. I say this from a vintage position. I come from the BLM. For the past 9 years, the main Catholic church was shut down because of the crisis. People still had the faith. The church has just reopened. And if you go there into the church, you find the crowd that is there. Coming to church 7 years after the thing was shut down, you would have thought that Christianity is dead there. So faith is not in the in the pastor. Different pastors, different bishops, different priests approach programs differently. And sometimes they get it wrong. Like, again, the pronuncio got it wrong last week. Is it last week? Where he was in the cathedral, where they invited this guy to come there as the Bishop Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon, so said the Archbishop. And the community that was in the church, most of them reverend sisters and priests, they said, no, Mr. Paul Biya, He's not our president. He said he's not, without making errors. So different pastors do approach things differently. I would think that this is a crisis. It's not even of a big crisis. It's something that can be handled, and it should be handled more strategically, more technically, and the problem will be solved. Even if they were to release the guy by the third day, would have ended the problem that these guys are holding this guy for. Would you have known why they are holding him? He would not have known. The guy would have gone away. The wounds of being abducted will remain in the priest. And I can guarantee you, if you release him today, the next 1 month, the bishop will transfer him away from that place to go and heal somewhere. They will send a different person there. And so I think that's how it is. That's how human society works. We are first humans before adopting a particular religion, be it Christianity, be it Judaism, be it Islam. We are first human beings. Over to you.
Thank you, Barrister. We are just first human beings, or probably we are just ordinary human beings, as the case may be.